Alright, so today we're finally going to do the Raze fracture guide. I've been kind of putting it off, but yeah, a lot of people asked for this, so we're going to hop into it. And yeah, if you don't know who I am, I'm an Immortal 3 duelist player, mainly Jet and Raze. I've been playing since beta pretty much, and you can see I used to be very low rank, but climbed my way up. And I've been Immortal for a long time now. So yeah, we're going to hop into the video anyway, so let's go. So yeah, real quick, 90% of you aren't subbed, so if you like watching my stuff, hit sub. I'm trying to go for 1k subs soon. We're at 800 now, which is insane, by the way. Thanks, everyone. And yeah. Alright, so Fracture is like actually a pretty complicated map, to be honest. There's a lot to Fracture, like with the ropes and the two sides and stuff. But in my opinion, Raze is definitely the best duelist on this map. So I'm just gonna go over, I'm gonna start on attack and just go over, and there's gonna be probably a lot more because you can attack from every single side as Raze. But I'm just gonna start off with A main anyway. With A main, my favorite way to push this is I will have, honestly this map with a breach becomes infinitely easier. If you have a duo Q breach, you can pretty much just win the game straight away. So I usually, if I don't have a breach, I will just do this and I'll jiggle peek it like this. Just getting a sight line on this guy. See if there's anyone there. If there's no one there, I can toss a boombot, whatever. But yeah, I will just jump peek like this. And then I will push up afterwards if I don't see anyone. Or I will just get my breach to stun this straight away. If my breach stuns this straight away, I can just run up. And after that, I'm going to turn down the audio a little bit. After that, if I have a breach, or if I have any initiator, to be honest, I will ask for some util around here. And this is, I do this on majority of rounds when I push here. I'll do this on pistol, I'll do this on full buys, I'll do it on anything. I'll ask for like a breach flash, a KO flash, a sky flash, even the new fade, like an eyeball or something. And I will instantly just run, jump up here. You can catch a guy off here who's flashed or is just running away. And you have instant access to CT. You can push like this and just let your team go sight. And you will catch one or two people off on the rotates. This is honestly, I do this pretty much every time. I'll either go up here, or the other play you can do is to satchel off over this way. You can get on this box as well, if you do it properly. You can just jump up on top of here, and then you have a really good flank as well on this guy. A lot of times people will play like here, or they'll play here. Sometimes they even play here. You can just kill people very, very freely from coming from here. And you also can just run CT like this. And if you get CT that fast, this is why it's so good. If you get CT that fast, from the enemy's team perspective, they still have a guy on sight, so they're not expecting anyone CT. That's why you can always grab people. Just instantly, you know what I mean? CT, by the way, is just enemy spawn if you're not familiar with the words. But that's how I attack from that side majority of the time. The other way to attack from it is just going main. So you come up here, you do the same jiggle. Then I'll usually do this as well. And then I will toss a boombot like this or something. Or I'll come up closer and then toss a boombot. Not like that. Like this. This will just clear some of the sight for you. And then you can, let's say if you're on pistol, you can just peek out. Maybe you have a sage wall, you have smokes. You don't want to really leave until you have smokes. And then you can take the sight. Or if you still have satchels, you can just satchel up there. Just clear this corner, clear that corner. You can also nade the guy down here. I will insta-kill him if he's sitting in that corner. And that's the main way to attack from this side. From dish side, it's actually much easier. Over on like A main is more high risk, high reward. With like satcheling up into the ropes and stuff. From this side, the way I mainly play it is kind of like this. I will come out, I'll swing like this. Where the barrier's like... I'll check the barrier actually. I'll check where the barrier is just to make sure.
30 seconds left. They want to dance?
Make sure I'm not doing anything stupid. Yeah, the barrier's here. I was thinking it was here. So off the start of the round, I will always run, toss a boombot off this wall. And the reason I do that is it doesn't really have to be precise. It's just good enough because it will clear. Sometimes you can get the boombot to go over here, but again, I don't like to be too exact with lineups like this. because there's too much going on as a duelist. Like you can't sit here and like twiddle your thumbs doing like perfect lineups, you know what I mean? Unless it's a lineup that starts on the start, like on the very start of the round behind the barrier, I don't think they're that useful as a duelist player. So I usually just toss it off this wall because it's curved. And I'll stand here like this. Then I will jiggle peek like this on this guy. And when the boombot is cleared this, then I will come over here. You just have to be wary of a guy here. And from this point, you can pretty much just run up. And the reason it's so good over here is because you can farm these orbs really easy. That's why Raze is so good on Fracture as well. So you can just farm these orbs. And if you have a rocket launcher from this spot, it's just a free kill. Because you can just jump out and get a kill from above. Anytime you can get high ground on Raze, it's really, really good. Or you can just fly out, rocket a guy. You can even go to ropes from here if you want. By tossing a satchel. Oh, I fucked it up. You just toss the satchel down here. You can fly over the ropes. So there's a lot of options with this area as well. The problem is you can kind of get stuck sometimes if this like gets repeatedly smoked off and your team can't get out. But yeah, if ever I'm going for that, like the play on site there, if I want an entry, I will toss a nade off this wall. It will nade CT, it will give me some cover. Like this, and then I will fly out and go onto site. And I'll have a clip of that. Alright, so you can see I'm starting over here. I'm completely alone on dish. It's fine. I do the boombot I was talking about. You see how I hold the angle? The boombot makes it so you pretty much only have to clear one angle instead of clearing both at the same time. Grab the orb because it's free here. And it slows down a little bit because of this smoke, so I'll just wait and see how I do the nade though. Omen smoke blocking me here, so I couldn't really do much. Able to pick up the fade. And I wanted to stay here, but then this Omen smoke comes up and I know I have to make a play, so I go straight in. Kind of whiff on this chamber a little bit, but I throw the nade because I got a call that Sage was over there. And he happens to res just straight into my nade, so I get a nice double kill off it. But yeah. That's the main way to attack A site. That's pretty much the ways I always attack A site. For B site, honestly you can also attack from both sides. So you'll start the round around here. You just come up this way. I usually toss a boombot like this if I'm afraid of an opper. This is the thing. If you think that the enemy are opping, you can just hold tab and check their money. And if you think they're opping, a lot of times they'll op this. So you can either jump up in this box, toss the boombot kind of around the corner. The problem is if you peek like this, you just die. Especially if it's a jet or a chamber or whatever. You're just kind of dead. So I'll just toss a boombot like this, or I will just jiggle peek it. Make sure that angle's clear. And then you have to clear here. You can't just swing this. So what you can do, and you can peek this from multiple ways. So you can come back here, so you can clear this. Jump up here, and then clear that. Just one way to do it. Or you can just jump peek it. Get quick info, and then you can swing. If you're afraid of a guy behind this box, you can also toss the boombot like this. To clear the box for you. And the best way to get in here, I'd always recommend doing like a jump peek like this. And then once you're about here, you can toss a nade up here. And then you can fly upwards towards the nade like this, and you can sneak in with the nade. Because the enemy are not going to expect you to come in when you throw the nade like that. Because it just, they see a nade, they're like, oh, they can't push the nade. But the nade doesn't do as much damage to you, obviously, as you can see. Especially if you're only taking a little bit of the damage. So you go toss the nade like this. You don't want to take the full brunt of it like that. You kind of want to wait a bit longer, like that I did the first time. You toss the nade. Now you can go. The sound of the nade will also cover your flying. Then you have a real quick entrance on tower. You can kill this guy for your team who are coming in here. Or you can kill a guy backside. You can kill a guy canteen over here. There's a lot of ways you can get in and just get free kills before the enemy even notice you're there. That's why comboing stuff with your nade is very important. Because it will cut off line of sight. It's like a mini smoke as well. You can see a lot of visual clutter. Like the enemy can't really see much. But that's the best way to go from arcade. Because B site is tower. If you don't have tower control on B site, you don't have B site. So you really want to try and take tower. And Raze is pretty good at taking tower. You can also equip your boombot like this before you get on the rope. Climb up the rope. And then jump boombot. I'll show you properly now. So you go up, jump boombot, and then you go. Just like that. You have to move forward. If you don't press any button on a rope, you'll always go backwards, if you see. No matter what like you'll always just go backwards. So you have to come up like this, push forward, and then just jump off and throw the boombot. Like Raze is very good at taking tower, you know. You can nade like this. There's a lot of good ways to take tower. The other way you can go from here is to instantly run into CT again. This is very strong on this map, as you can tell. I've talked about it on both sides. Like, you can go straight away into CT. Like, usually there's a smoke here, so you can sneak up. But it's not as good as the other site, because a lot more people expect it on out here. If you can get into CT from canteen, it's much better. But that's better on this side, rather than the arcade side. I've gotten so many people with their pants down over here. It's crazy. But yeah, that's the main ways to attack over that side. And then the last side to attack from is over here. So from here, you'll pretty much always have a breach as well. If you don't have a breach, I'm going to restart the round again, just to make it look better. Yeah, if you don't have a breach over here, you can just toss a boombot kind of over here. Again, I don't really have a proper lineup for it. You just want the boombot to bounce off and didn't spot an opper. That's like the main reason for this boombot. So like you'll see start around like this. I'll just toss the boombot like that. Follow the boombot. You see, it'll just bounce off the wall. It'll just clear any op angles. And also get it to go into the site here. It's a fine boombot. Like, you know, you just want it to clear this. Because so many oppers post up here. It's the most common op spot on the map so far. So yeah, if I don't have a breach who will stun for me, I'll do that boombot. Just toss it off that wall. I kind of aim it at this thing, but again, it's not really precise. And then you get to about here. You never want to just do this. You will just die if you do this. So you want to give this a little jiggle. Kind of like this. Fire a few warning shots. Then you need to clear here. That's the next most important spot to clear. And then when you actually want to execute, you can toss your nade like this. And you can see this is going to instantly kill anyone here. And if you've played this map, you know there's always a player here. So you can just toss the nade like this and then just go and fly into sight. You can fly right here. This is why having a breach is so important, because you can get your breach, the flash here as you go in. So that if there's someone here, they're at the very least half flashed. If there's someone here, then they're also full flashed. But this is like the safest spot to go in. This is why you want to go in with your nade as well. Because your nade will give you some sort of cover as well. So I usually toss the nade like this. Fly in, try and kill. I try and clear here and here, which is hard. But you gotta remember, sometimes you will die, but as a duelist, you kind of need, like, dying is okay. A lot of people say, like, as long as you're dying for the right reasons, as long as you're not just swinging and dying. Like, if you get info, there's a guy here, then you can everyone can just clear this guy and kill him, you know what I mean? It's fine if you die there. Because as long as you gotta remember what your role is. Your role is to make space for your team to get the bomb down. That's your role. So you can see here, this time I didn't have the breach, so I done the boombot I was talking about. And there is an opper there. My teammate didn't wait for the boombot, so he gets punished. I got straight out on site really quickly, because I wanted to catch the enemy off guard, and I caught the sage straight away. See how I went, pushed the canteen there. We'll grab another guy. Whiffed on the aura decoy, which is actually a good thing. And see, I'm just kind of jiggling in the spawn here, seeing if I could catch a guy. I did spot one. But Oh, sorry. Catch the omen there, he paranoias me, so I just back off. Again, every time you get spotted, you really need to reposition. You can't really just stay there. Expect it's a fake TP. Toss the nade down, just to block him off. I push in through the nade to catch him, and I grab the ace then. And for post plants, like I always say, playing quite aggressive as a duelist is okay. But not just swinging people like this, you know what I mean? As long as you're not just doing this, like you can play in more aggressive positions. Like this one's really strong if you're playing post plant. I usually kind of sit on a little bit more of an off angle. Because when people come and clear this, they'll do this. They'll aim directly in the corner. And if you're over here, then they have to flick to you. Know what I mean? So even slight angle changes like that can really, really help you. That's a good one. Playing tower is also another good one. You can bounce the nade off of this. You can kill the plant. If you don't run, it'll probably land a bit more here. Or you can also just bounce the nade off this wall. So tower is another good one. And yeah, they're the best ones. Also, when you're pushing from this site, instead of just satcheling in on site like that, like I showed you earlier, you can also just push up like this, and a lot of times there's going to be a smoke here. And you can peek into the smoke, and you can hold this smoke. Because a lot of times the enemy are going to push up, and they're going to try and hide in the smoke, and then you're right here, and you just shoot them. And you can also get a quick flank on CT, so you can like satchel out of the smoke. So that's majority, yeah, I think that's everything on B site. I never talked about post plant on A though, so I'm gonna quickly talk about it. Post plant on A is pretty like, you know, bog standard. Like if you can get here, it's really strong. Like if your bomb is already down over like here, and you have some teammates on site, and you can play here, you can kind of hide a little bit, and then you can come out when the enemies don't expect it to. And then you can throw this nade again. This nade is also still really good. Or you can play the standard angles like this one, which is a hard one and done. Like you're only, if you can play crossfire with the guy here is the main good part about this one. The problem is you can get cleared out by a lot of util. Or you can play like top site like this one. A lot of times there's a sage wall here, you can like jiggle over it. You can crouch under and then peek back up. Or you can just play main. So that's pretty much all of attack. Again, like all the places I showed you, you can get a free ult point on every single side. The best one for it is Dish. You can get the freest one. This one, I use this one a lot more as bait. I'll tap the orb. I'll nade, tap, and then if you nade and take the orb, you're fine. But what I'll do a lot of times is just tap the orb and hold the angle like this. But yeah, on every site you can get a free ult point from whatever you want to take. And Raze's ult is so good on this map for places like this. My favorite one is drop. And you can also ult out of tower. It's another pretty good one. But I'll probably go into that more on defense. But yeah, let's say like the bomb's planted on site. You can just fly around like this. Rocket the guy on site. But yeah. So that's attack, and I'm gonna hop into defense now. Alright, so defense is a lot more kind of team coordinated. If you have, once again, defense is where Breach really shines, like to have as your teammate. Because one of the strongest, my favorite place to play on Raze is B, and having a Breach with you makes life 10 times easier. I'm going to show the first actual, like, standard play I will do pretty much every time I have a Breach. I'll have a Breach, he can either sit here, or he can sit here. And he can just stun all of Arcade. Up here is better because you can stun it at the angle. And then I will just fly out like this. Let me do it again, I accidentally shifted. I will just fly out. And go grab myself a nice free kill on 1 or 2 stun targets over here. And this works every time. Unless you randomly get one tapped. You just get yourself a nice free kill on the guy who's sitting over here. Because he just stunned up, he's just free. The other way I like to take Arcade, if let's say I don't have a Breach, is I'll come over as the spawn barriers come down, and I'll toss a boombot off this bench. And the boombot will come up here, and it will clear here, which is the most important part, and then it will bounce out this way. So, you know, the round starts. I'll come out like this, boombot the wall. And then I can get ready to fight like this. If no one's here, I just grab this orb for free. Again, all about these orbs on Fracture. They are so important. On a character like Raze, like, it's so free. Like, you can get your ult without even killing anyone, which is insane. And if there's nobody there again, you can just get a quick flank if you want. Or at the very least, if they, let's say they have a chamber, you can come over here and shoot the chamber trip. Because if you shoot the tripwire, even if you don't flank, there's pressure on them and they think there's going to be a guy flanking. Also, if you're over here, let's say you take here and there's nobody here, but they're coming from B main, you can get a quick flank on this guy. You can get a quick flank on all their team. And every time I come from underpass, nobody's looking at me. Every single time. And I mean every time. Even in really high elo, like nobody knows how quick you can come from here. Because it's quite rare of a flank, but you can just peek out. Grab one, you know, you grab one, grab two maybe. You just satchel your way out. Just like that, and you're gone. You got 1 or 2 kills, and you didn't even get traded, so it's just huge. The other way is if you want to play very aggressive on B main, and I wouldn't recommend this without having a breach. Unless you are just playing for info. So, when the round starts, I'll kind of toss a boombot around here. Somewhere on this wall. It'll just bounce out. Clears some of the area. And if the boombot doesn't spot anyone, then it will push up. Kind of like this. You just have to be careful of this corner. And they could sit here, but very rarely someone sits here. And you can grab this orb again, if no one's here. Or what you can do as well is toss your nade up here. Because what a lot of people will do is place a chamber trip, kind of like in this hole. And this nade will destroy the trip. But I'd only recommend it really in higher elos because it can really fuck up like their plan. And they really they expect someone that's behind them. But sometimes the chambers place the trip kind of like here or here or something, so it's more of a riskier nade, but I like to do it sometimes. Just because if you destroy the trip, again, you just put a lot of pressure on them. And it makes them not want to rotate because they're afraid that there's a guy here. You know what I mean? But that's kind of how, and again, you could push from this way. If there's no one here. I have caught some people off guard quite a lot from here. But it doesn't work as well as coming from this way, if you know what I mean. But yeah, having a breach here gives you like way more plays you can do with the stuns. And having a breach over here, what I like to do sometimes is just tell my breach, just ult, just straight away ult. And breach ults all of like here. And I will just instantly go out. And I'll just get free kills. I've gotten upwards of 3 kills just from that play alone. But obviously, it's riskier because you don't know if they're actually going to come. And you're just blind breach ulting, but when it works, it goes huge. Because a lot of players clump up around this area. So that's all of B site pretty much. The best ways to retake it, retaking this site is quite hard. But you can nade like this, clear the guy back site. That'll kill him. You can also nade this corner over here. A lot of people sit in this corner. You can also nade tower as you're coming up. So let's say you're trying to jump on the site, you can nade the tower as you're coming in. One thing you have to be wary of is this wall is really bullshit. You can see. Sometimes it just bounces the wrong way because of these little things in the wall. It'll get stuck in it as well sometimes. It's a very buggy piece of texture. So try and bounce it off of this or this rather than in the middle. Because as you can see, sometimes it just doesn't work. Or you can do like a walking backwards nade, so it just lands straight in the entrance. But yeah, those are the nades there. That's pretty much the main things you have to do on this site. Is the nade, like, it's the most important. Satchel, you just kind of what I'll do a lot of the time is
Satchel out.
satchel to get, like, you can peek this,
Satchel out.
you can go peek this. You just have to make sure you're covered. But retaking the site is very difficult. You kind of just have to play with your team and get the trades. Your job, pretty much, is clear certain corners with these nades and the satchels and stuff. Or a lot of time people sit here, like I even recommended. So you can boombot like this. Clear this corner. But yeah, this site is quite hard to retake. So I would try and fight for this site. Unless you have a breach or a fatal or something like that. And for A site, I prefer not to play A. But A is still pretty good. It's just kind of my preference. I prefer B. And if you want to fight for dish control, again, this wall is your best friend. Toss the boombot off the wall. He just goes flying out here. It won't clear this. That's what you have to be wary of. If you do push. So yeah, I'll start the round kind of like this. I can even... Sometimes you'll see this with teammates where one guy peeks here and then another guy comes over here. You're pretty much doing this by yourself. You know what I mean? So you'll come out here, throw the boombot off the wall. You'll shift over here. And then you can come out like this. That is my favorite way to take dish. Sometimes a boombot will randomly clear this, but again, I don't like doing proper lineups, especially for boombots, unless it's off the spawn barrier. But yeah, you can just grab this orb as well for free, and you can go for a quick flank if you like. Again, you can shoot the tripwire or whatever. But that's pretty much dish. The good thing about dish is you have dish. I know it sounds dumb, but like if the enemies are trying to come here, if they don't smoke it, you can just destroy them. And if they do smoke it, you can just toss a nade like this, blows up directly in the choke, and then they actually can't get out. Sometimes it'll split them. So you'll help your teammate on site here. Like let's say there's a guy here. Instead of having 4 guys run at him, he's only going to have 1 because of the nade. Or they're all going to be low from the nade, so you can just spray him down. So that's pretty much dish. Again, the retake from dish is pretty much the same as the attack on dish. Like you can fly out and stuff. Or you can fly over towards sand. But yeah, the other way you can play is for fighting for A main. Now, the way I prefer to fight is play here. On Raze anyway. On Jet, I like to take here and play here with an op. But on Raze, the best way to play it is you have a teammate here. He's kind of like, you know, he's looking for contact, and when your teammate gets a contact, that's when you can just open this door. You can even nade like this, peek out, and destroy people, or you can just straight up just fight them like that. You know what I mean? And you can just satchel your way out. So you're kind of chilling here, you're waiting for noise, waiting for something. And you can get out if you need, or you can just take the fight with everyone. If you have a phantom or something. And again, if there's no one here, or even you can fight it from here as well, by the way. Again, I'd recommend doing like a little jump peek. If you don't see anyone, you can do a boombot like this. This boombot, like if you jiggle it like that, it will go outside. But if you can't, like let's say they have an op on you or something, you can do a boombot like this. Just bounce it off the wall. And then you can just go for quick jiggles like that. And if there's no one here, you just take the orb again. Again, orbs, orbs, orbs. Orbs are just free rockets, and the more rockets you get, the more kills you get. And as Raze, I'd recommend rotating quick enough. I wouldn't say you want to kind of stick around. Like, compared to like a sentinel or something, like let's say like you get the info. This is why I like this boombot on main here, one I was doing earlier. You can boombot like this. You can get the info if there's anyone here. If there's no one here, you can just go straight away and rotate. Because a lot of players just 5-hit a sight on this game. Or on this map specifically. And yeah, again, with the breach, if you have a breach here, it's infinitely better. On every single point, if you have a breach, it's infinitely better. You can stun like this. And then you could just satchel all your way out. Just go get free kills again. So yeah, breach, breach, breach. Breach is the savior, but you don't need him. It's just much, much easier to play with a breach. Well, I think that's pretty much the map, to be honest. I'm thinking if I've forgotten anything. Not really. That's pretty much the map. Those are like all the plays I do pretty much every time I play this map. Like again, you can having canteen control on this site is very good because you can peek in like this, catch a lot of people off guard. But that's pretty much it. Yeah. So thanks for watching. I hope everyone enjoyed it. I know everyone's been asking for it. So yeah, just like, sub, all that. You can leave me what map you want next in the comments as well, and what character, obviously. And yeah, see you later.